In this series, we're going to cover how to actually design the day and the week. And this is where we're going to see how the hierarchy of exercises from the first video makes this extremely easy to implement. All right, so the first step is to establish how many vacancies that you need to fill, right? So how many exercises do you plan to do per day and per week? And the way that we can establish this is understanding about how long it's going to take per exercise, right? So if you're a beginner, you're not that strong, you're not that conditioned, exercises aren't going to take you that long. So you'll probably be about 10 minutes per exercise. Obviously, the more advanced that have heavier weights, higher level of conditioning, you might be upwards of 20 minutes per exercise. So for each day, you're generally going to do about 3 to 6 exercises, 10 to 20 minutes per exercise, right? How many exercises you do is highly dependent. Again, that's what the rest of the series is going to help you establish and figure out. So after that, you need to establish how many days per week you're going to train. However many days you have to dedicate to this, usually 3 or 4 is optimal. 2 days a week, you probably have something else going on, or you're a beginner, right? Maybe lifting's not your priority, maybe conditioning is. So you only have 2 days a week in the weight room. So for our purposes, and making this very understandable in its example, we're going to go with 3 exercises per day, 3 days a week. Right, so here in the blue on the left, we have 3 vacancies per day. And then on the right, we have the week layout, day 1, day 2, day 3. 3 vacancies each day gives us 9 vacancies to fill with exercises. So all we're going to do is plug and play from the hierarchy, right? We have the back squat, the bench press, and the deadlift. These are pound for pound the most stressful, most demanding exercises. They take top priority. So we're going to try and slot 3 of these big guys in for the week, right? So 1 for the squat, 1 for the bench, 1 for the deadlift. And then the 6 other vacancies are going to be for their submax variations, evenly spread out throughout the week. This is where the hierarchy becomes really easy to apply. You can't mess this up. It's foolproof. However you want to do it, however you want to plug it in, it's not going to be messed up, right? The priority is going to be the progression, which we'll cover in a later video. But just plug these exercises into each vacancy for the week. 3 a day, 3 days a week, 9 vacancies to fill, plug and chug. So with that being said, there's some traditional layouts that we can apply to the week. And again, for sake of example, I'm going to show you how I do it, but I'll give you other ways that you can quickly adjust it to fit your needs and your experimentation. All right, so again, the back squat, all the variations thereof, pressing variations thereof, deadlifting variations thereof, and then actual variants that we can apply to all of these exercises. Just plug and play. It's really that easy once you're organized, which we're doing. So how I have organized it for this example, day 1, day 2, day 3. I put the major movements at the top of each day. So the back squat, most stressful movement I can do there on day 1. Bench press, most stressful pressing movement I can do on day 2. And the conventional or sumo deadlift on day 3, the most stressful deadlifting movement I can do there. After that, I just plugged in their variants. I need 6 submaximal variations, evenly dispersed, right? So I need 1 or 2 for squat variations, 1 or 2 for pressing variations, 1 or 2 for deadlifting variations. And that's exactly what I have. Press variation here, deadlift variation there, squat variation here, deadlift variation here, right, et cetera, et cetera. Again, like I said, this is a traditional standard way to set it up, but you can set it up however you want. If you want to take the back squat, bench press, and deadlift, do all the big movements on day 1, that's perfectly fine. And then have day 2 and day 3 for all your submaximal variations. That works out well. If you want to start with the leg press as a submax squat variation and then go into a bench press and a deadlift, that's fine, and save your back squat for day 2. That's completely fine. You can literally not mess this up. And as you get to know yourself and as you get to apply more and more programs to yourself, you're going to figure out what works for you, not just physiologically, but also logistically, your lifestyle. Maybe 3 days a week isn't going to work. Maybe you need to go to 4 days a week. But the purpose here is to establish how to set it up. Get your day set up, how many exercises you have time to do. Get your week layout, and that gives you how many vacancies you need to fill. Take the hierarchy, stay within the hierarchy, and fill in your vacancies. It's really that simple and really that effective. Again, the priority is going to be focusing on the progression, which is a video that we're going to cover for a later time. Now, when it comes to conditioning, we're not going to cover conditioning too much in this video. This was just for a lifting organization because there's going to be a lot more science behind conditioning for later videos. However, conditioning we want to save for after your lifts, right? This is for, again, the sake of efficiency. From an energy system standpoint, the energy systems that we tend to use for conditioning have a longer endurance to them. So what I mean is, doing conditioning before lifting weights is going to hinder and affect weightlifting more than if you were to do weightlifting before conditioning, right? So conditioning affects weightlifting more than weightlifting affects conditioning. So if you do weightlifting first and then go into your conditioning is not going to be hindered, and neither is your weightlifting. Whereas if you do conditioning first, you're going to have a pre-fatigue state, and the lifting is going to be subpar. So establish your vacancies, establish how many vacancies you need to fill per week, fill them in, and then plan your conditioning. One more thing on conditioning: if your conditioning is going to be any longer than 20 minutes, right, just like your lifts, they should be about a max of 20 minutes per lift. If your conditioning is going to last longer than 20 minutes, just establish its own day, right? Have a lift day and then a conditioning day on its own, again, for efficiency and for focus. So that's all for this video. Stay tuned for the next one. We're going to start diving in to a little bit more potent science for it. All right, progression next, and then how to implement all of these other variables.